Hey y'all, it's Jennifer, and I am a hot mess on a mission. And today I want to talk about something. I haven't gotten this fired up about a topic in a while. And I have been in a conversation online with someone, and here I feel like I need to get this issue out in the open. Okay. Something that is kind of trendy right now is to say X, Y, and Z are morally neutral, and that's fine to some extent. But what they're doing in some cases is harmful. The one that I'm most familiar with and that I mostly agree with is when they talk about your ability to clean your house is morally neutral. Whether you're organized or unorganized, disorganized, it's morally neutral. You know, there is a popular TikTok person. I think she may have YouTube now. I don't know. Who is ADHD, and she talks about certain things, like your ability to do things or not do things, whether it's because you have ADHD or because you're depressed, you're overwhelmed, you've got something else going on. Um, you're not a moral failing. And I do agree with that. But here is a new way it's being used about morally neutral. And I think what they're doing is using that as an excuse for bad behavior. And I say bad, unhelpful behavior. Okay. So here's the deal. The conversation that I was having had to do with food being morally neutral. Okay. Sounds harmless. But in their argument though, here's where it gets tricky. Their argument was that there is no difference between a cupcake and kale. It's morally neutral. One is not better than the other. And this, my dear, is where I get worked up. Because calling a cupcake and kale morally neutral is ridiculous. Now, this person tried to attack me from the stance of, well, good for you. You probably feel good calling fat people blah blah. And I'm like, hello, I'm a fat person. I have struggles. And their thing was, maybe they're poor and unable to have anything but sugary junky carbs. As she's speaking from experience. Okay, fine and well. I've been there and I've been miserable. And I hate to tell you, but there are cheap alternatives to garbage. If you're going to eat carbs, if you need carbs, okay, you can have rice. They're instant rice. You can do things that are simple. But if you're going to say, you're okay with, there is nothing wrong with letting yourself have a Pop-Tart. Okay, but if you're living on Pop-Tarts, you could just as easily be living on cheese or pork rinds or meat sticks that are cheap. There are some cheap, I know, but hot dogs. Okay, if you're okay with living on Pop-Tarts, you can be okay with living on a hot dog. And I promise you, a hot dog is going to treat your body better. It's not going to be great, but it's going to treat your body better than Pop-Tarts, okay? If you need that sweetness and that sugariness, fruit. Fruit is super easy. Bananas, apples, whatever. If you need, and they're probably comparable to Pop-Tarts. At least bananas are. Bananas are cheap. And so this is my issue, because people like to say that healthy food is expensive. Okay, some of it can be, okay? You don't have to have organic for it to be better than garbage, okay? We don't do organic. I can't personally afford organic or justify the increased expense. Now, right now, I don't know that organic is a whole lot more expensive than regular because regular is so ridiculously expensive now. But this is the way I see it. And you guys, I love you too much to let you live a lie. I understand the need to eat sugars. Believe me, I go there. I can binge on sugars, but here's the deal. And this person was not a Christian, because my thing was, I'm not sure why you're replacing morality with healthy versus unhealthy. I mean, there is obviously a difference between a cupcake and a kale, and it has nothing to do with morality. Okay, it's not morally neutral. It's not a moral issue. It's a health issue. But I was like, but if you want to talk about morals, gluttony is a sin. It's a deadly sin. So it's kind of a big deal. And I'm much more likely to binge and show some gluttonous behavior after I eat a cupcake versus after I eat kale, which I'm not going to eat kale, but after I eat, me personally, after I eat broccoli. It's a lot easier to eat a cupcake. It's easier to eat cereal and Pop-Tarts. But let me tell you, easier isn't better. Easier, it's like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Now, this person doesn't believe in hell because they don't believe in God. But the end of my argument to her was, these people, I'm never going to encourage someone to eat garbage for the sake of eating. Because her thing was fed is better than not fed. Okay, but fed, if you're going to the store to buy Pop-Tarts, you can go to the store and buy hot dogs or grapes or bananas. If you're going to walk, and peel the banana, okay? I understand, but what it is when I've been there, it's not because the food was morally neutral. It was because I was binging, because sugar has an effect on your brain. And let me tell you something, and I will tell this to anybody who is like, all I can muster to eat is Pop-Tarts. Inbox me and let's talk about ways to get some healthier options. Because if you think, that's all I can handle, let's talk about why you're in that space to not be able to handle anything else. Let's talk about what you deserve. And what you deserve is to get out of that space. And here's the other thing. If you're eating sugar and junk, y'all, I can eat one cupcake. And the next day, I am depressed. I am unmotivated. I am questioning the meaning of life. Sugar is evil. Have you ever heard that Alzheimer's is now being called diabetes or type 3 diabetes? That's because sugar is hell on our brain. And let me just say, I will never tell you that you don't deserve to take better care of yourself. I'm never going to tell you you deserve a Pop-Tart when you could just as easily have something else of better quality. It doesn't have to be perfect quality, but there are better options. There are better options. I'm never going to encourage anybody to do something that is going to lead them down a path of disease. And sugar is not good. It feeds cancer. It increases your risk for Alzheimer's. Okay, sure, in the moment, it may feel good, but you deserve more than to feel good in the moment and then feel like crap for the rest of the time that your body is trying to figure out what to do with that sugar. Okay, I am on my high horse today. I am sorry, but this is something that I am passionate about. This is something that gets under my skin. Don't bring in morality and then back up and say, if you want to talk about morality, what are you basing your morality in? Okay, what constitutes morality, being morally good or bad? Because if you're going to say that food is morally neutral, you've brought food into morality. Food is healthy and unhealthy, but you're bringing in morality into the food. So if you're going to bring morality in, what makes it morally neutral? Because sugar kills. So if something kills you, it can be morally neutral. Is that what you're saying? Because morally neutral seems like if it has no moral connotation or no moral shortcomings or benefits, then there's not going to be any negative consequences, right? I mean, so dying is morally neutral. Well, I guess technically dying can be morally neutral, maybe. I don't want people to die. I don't want people to take the shortcut and care so little about themselves that they're willing to put themselves at risk just to have something easy. I am sorry. I know there are days where you can't get up out of bed. But if you can reach for something, and I mean, it's not the best option, and there are still a lot of carbs, but even like store-bought granola bars are going to be a little less processed, and you can get them super cheap, y'all, like 11 cents a piece. You can get them cheap, a lot cheaper than Pop-Tarts. And I'm not saying this person was not advocating Pop-Tarts, you guys. So Pop-Tarts is just one of those breakfast foods that has come into my mind. Just like cupcakes is one of those generic things that come into my mind. But if something is killing you, it's not morally neutral, okay? And if peanuts are killing you because, like, you got a peanut allergy, it's not morally neutral for you to eat peanuts. And by the same token, if you're eating something that is making you feel bad, and you don't even know it, a lot of people don't even realize how much sugar is affecting their mental clarity and their mental health because they've never been without it. I didn't realize I started keto because I wanted to lose weight. What ended up happening was I lost aches and pains and brain fog and all of this other stuff. And I realized once I got this sugar out of my system that's what sugar was doing to me. It completely changed my life. And then I fell back off the wagon because, stress and whatnot. And that's an excuse. But at the same time, I knew those were bad choices for me. Those were choices that made me feel bad, that made me less effective as a human being. And it's not okay to say morally neutral. Okay? I love you guys. And I don't want you to let other people kind of pull the wool over your eyes and say, I'm not saying it's not okay. Like, we go through seasons where that's kind of where our mindset is. But that's not what is best for any of us. When, our goal should always be to come out of that mindset. And it's not to say that we're a bad person. I'm not saying that you're bad for eating sugar. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is the sugar is bad. What I'm saying is you deserve better choices. You deserve better choices. You deserve to be healthy. And that's what I told this girl. I was like, I'm never going to encourage people to eat junk for the sake of eating. Because junk can kill them. And I can't with a clear conscience encourage somebody. I was like, they deserve to be healthy. You deserve to be healthy. She deserves, and I told her that she deserves to be healthy and happy. And I think that y'all know I'm a Christian. And Jesus loves us. He died for all of us. Whether you believe in him or not, he died for you too. And we let all of these excuses of modern day life, we don't want to be politically incorrect. We don't want to step on anybody's toes. We don't want to make people feel bad. But trust me, you eating sugar and things that are going to just eat away at your body is going to make you feel worse than I can by saying you deserve better. And again, inbox me. I'll be happy. I'm happy to encourage you and to explore with you better options. It doesn't have to be perfect options. I'm not saying that you need to eat organic. I'm not saying you need to eat whole foods all the time. Whole foods as often as you can is good. The better that you can do, the better it will be for you. But you deserve better than making excuses so you don't have to do the hard work. Living a good life is hard, and you deserve to live a good life. Some people are like, well, I can't get out of bed. I just can't. Okay. But when you muster the energy to do something, the next thing you do needs to be something that is going to be in your best interest long term. Okay? We get in that position, we all get in that state where we are just depressed. We feel like crap. We have no energy. We have no motivation. We wonder, why are we even here? What can I do with this life to make it even not pointless, right? Because we get into that state of mind. And I can tell you from experience that a lot of that mindset for me comes when I am eating junk and when I'm not taking my supplements, okay? In my case, I have the MTHFR gene mutation. I am compound heterozygous, which means I have one of each of the mutations. There are 2 mutations, and I have one of each. And that is the way your body detoxes, and especially if you're eating sugar, your body needs to detox. And that's one of the things that I do is I kind of up my supplements or take extras whenever I've eaten something so that I don't feel like complete crap. And a lot of people, like they say, possibly up to 40% of this population has at least one of these mutations. And the more you have and the different ones that you have, they have different effects. But if you notice that you feel so much better when you don't eat sugar than when you eat sugar, try not to. It's so hard, you guys. I mean, I know. I get on here and I talk about I've screwed up. But you know what? I've screwed up. It's nothing that I'm not a bad person for screwing up. I'm not a perfect person. Nobody is. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes choices that are not the best. There's like good choices. Maybe they're not the best, but they're good. And maybe they're bad choices, but they're not as bad as they could have been. But it just, when this person compared and said there's no moral difference between kale and cupcakes, I'm like, that's like saying there's no different, like ibuprofen and methamphetamines, meth they're equal. One is not better than the other, which that's garbage. One can kill you. Well, the other one can probably eventually kill you too. But that's what I'm saying. The difference between kale and a cupcake. It just blows my mind that people are willing to put that excuse out there and call it morally neutral, which, like I said, I don't know how they decide what isn't it. Can someone tell me if you're not a Christian, and not everybody's Christian, how do you determine morality if it's not based on biblical, what the Bible says? How do you determine what's moral and what's not moral? And what makes, and like I said, I don't think morality is people behaviors. It's like saying a dog is not moral or immoral. Why bring morality into it? It doesn't make it morally neutral. It means it's not an issue of morality. There's a difference. It's health versus disease. But again, God wants you to be healthy, even whether you're Christian or not. God put you on this earth for a purpose. He loves you and wants you to prosper. Now, he also gives us free will, so we can choose to believe or not to believe. Because if he's forcing us to worship him, that's not love, right? It's like being in an arranged marriage where there's no love there. That's not what our God is about. And Jesus came to die for us because we were imperfect. And we're not, and so we're not going to be perfect. That's why we need Jesus. But at the same time, when you're a Christian, our goal is to be as Christ-like as possible. And if eating a cupcake can be a moral stumbling block, then don't eat the cupcake. We make a choice. When we choose our behavior, we choose the consequences. And so when we choose to eat junk, we're choosing to feel bad. Nobody feels good eating junk. And they may think that they're healthy, but it's going to catch up with them. It always does. I can show pictures of you when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult, until right before I had my daughter. I was skinny. Like when I was in college, I had to lie about how much I weighed so I could give blood. Y'all, I lied about how much I weighed so I could give blood. It didn't hurt me. But anyway, I don't recommend doing it because that wasn't okay. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. I was skinny. Like I was under 110. And I could eat whatever I wanted. I ate all kinds of stuff. It caught up with me for sure. As you get older, and some people are lucky. I still see older people who are skinny, and it blows my mind. Because if you could see my family, it doesn't matter. Even when I eat well, like I lost 7 pounds pretty easily. And then I just I walk, I eat right. Oh my gosh, y'all. But anyway, carbs don't work for me. And it doesn't mean that carbs don't work for you. Some people can eat carbs. But what I'm saying is, if those carbs lead you to eat more carbs, and if you're feeling like crap, maybe carbs aren't good for you. A lot of people have this baseline because they've eaten carbs their whole life, and they don't realize that they feel how crappy they feel. They just think this is what normal life feels like until they go without carbs, and they're like, oh, wow. And so people think, I'm fine with carbs. Carbs don't bother me. But yet, they have all the, headache and whatever. But some people can eat, there are healthy carbs out there. Some people can handle healthy carbs, like fruits, all different kinds of fruits and higher carb vegetables that are really good for you. And those are good options. But, I don't, part of me doesn't want to upset anybody because, I understand. But at the same time, if you're feeling like crap and you're depressed and nothing is working and you don't know why and you have no energy and you have no motivation and your diet has a lot of carbs, simple carbs like breads and sugars, sweets, I want so much more for you. And I'm not going to say that all that sugar that you're eating is okay because it's hurting you. And to me, if something is hurting you, I can't say it's morally neutral, okay? Because it's hurting you. And I don't want you to be hurt by food. We all have to make our own decisions. Sometimes I hurt myself with food, okay? But I try desperately not to because I know it's a hard battle to fight to get back on there. And I will tell you, I am not perfect. I'm telling you all of this from experience. I'm telling you because I know what it's like. When we had the baby shower, we had sweet treats. And I binge ate those sweet treats. And it was not good. And I felt like crap for days. And it was a choice that I made. And it was a choice that hurt me. And it might have hurt me temporarily, but it may have also hurt me long term. My blood sugar is like way higher than it needs to be. And I've recently started having to take care of that. And I don't know how long it's been high. It may have been high for a long time because I've not been checking it regularly. And a lot of people don't realize because there are no outward signs of diabetes. And so you don't know that you're hurting yourself, but you are. Or, they say, oh, well, everybody's different. Yes, everybody's different. But in a lot of ways, there are some things that are universal. And, eating junk food and expecting it not to harm your body, that's something we try to give ourselves an excuse and say, well, it's morally neutral. It's okay if you feel like you just need to eat junk. Okay, if that's where you're at today, okay. But don't stay there. You deserve better. And I'm not going to say, you know what, it's okay for you to just wallow in self-pity and to feel bad. No, it is, you have a life to live. You deserve better. You deserve better. So it's time to actually get up and go out there and live better. Take better care of yourself. Love yourself enough to not fool yourself and not lie to yourself and say, kill versus cupcakes is morally neutral, because you're just making excuses for your own bad behavior, and you deserve better. That's all I can say. You deserve better. So, on that note, I love you guys, and I'm sorry if I stepped on your toe, but sometimes the truth hurts, and you deserve better even when it's hard. If living a good life was easy, everybody would do it. Nobody ever said life is supposed to be easy and we're supposed to be able to do whatever is easiest. We can. A lot of people do. And, there are consequences. And I don't want you to have the negative consequences of making bad choices. So, okay. Now, love you guys. Bye, y'all.